Then entered Satan into Judas, surnamed Iscariot, being of the number of the 12. Luke 22 verse 3, John 13 and verse 2. And supper being ended, the devil, having now put it into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. John 13 and verse 27. After the supper, Satan entered into him. Which is the supernatural being, Satan or the devil? In John 13 and verse 2, the devil put the thought of betrayal into Judas's heart, but after the supper, Satan entered into him. John 13 verse 27. Does Satan enter into one who is already captured by the devil? Have not I chosen you 12, and one of you is a devil? The distinction between the devil, John 13 and verse 2, and Satan, John 13 and verse 27, may suggest that the former was shown to be one of the representatives of the chief priests. The latter may indicate sinful human nature. John 12 and verse 6. Judas's problem began before the crucifixion. He was a thief, and he was stealing from the money bag. Now in passing, the word entered is used in a non-physical sense in Matthew chapter 25 and verse 21. Enter into the joy of your Lord, entering in at the narrow gate. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 13. Entering into another's labours. John chapter 4 and verse 38. John chapter 4 and verse 38. Satan enters a man's heart in the sense that the lusts of other things enter in. Matthew 4 and verse 19. In this sense we can enter into temptation. Luke 22 and verse 46. Satan has desired you, plural. Luke 22 verse 31 suggests that the chief priests were looking for 2 or more of the disciples who they could use for their own evil purposes, or it may suggest that they considered rounding up all the disciples. There is a parallel passage in Acts chapter 5 and verse 3 and 4 where Peter says, "Why has Satan filled thy heart?" But the next verse explains, "Why have thou conceived this thing in thy heart?" When an individual gives himself over to sin, it is said to be Satan, the adversary, entering into his heart. Certainly the thought of betraying Jesus began within the heart, mind of Judas. Judas put this thought in his own mind. This is highlighting that the heart of Judas was itself responsible. That heart put the idea of betraying Jesus into itself, and nobody else was responsible. Note how the Lord addressed Judas as if Judas had full responsibility for his actions and control over them. What you are going to do, do it quickly. John 13 verse 27, Mark chapter 14 verse 21. Woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. Good were it for that man if he had never been born. Those 2 passages alone surely make it clear that Judas was no robot, no puppet on a satanic string. He had full responsibility and choice over his actions. Hence these words of the Lord to him. Summing up, we are left with the question, did Judas betray Jesus, or did Satan working through Judas betray Jesus? The answer surely is that it was Judas, and he must bear full responsibility for that.